The Arizona State Sun Devils have brought back native son Kenny Dillingham, an offensive mastermind that maybe we're not giving enough credit to. What does this mean, though, for the Sun Devils moving forward? And is this a team we should be investing in for fantasy purposes moving forward? Kenny Dillingham has had a very intriguing coaching career. He started out at Arizona State as a grad assistant and has then kind of moved on. He went there, lived in the Arizona place. He did a recently did a interview and a press conference talking about how it was great to be back home. He is from the area, and I think this is why it's a smash hire just on that part of things for Arizona State. Is Arizona is a fertile recruiting ground right there next to California as well. If they're able to get some of these guys to stay within that area, Arizona State could turn this around fairly quickly. As I mentioned, he was an offensive assistant at Arizona State before going on to Memphis, then Auburn, Florida State, then obviously this past year at Oregon. And why I said he's a little bit of an offensive mastermind. If you go back to Memphis in 2018, when he was first given the ability to be an offensive coordinator for them, they were 25th in pass success rate. I'm sorry, offensive success rate. So their offense was one of the top quarter of the nation in college football. They were eighth, though, in offensive explosive rate with a 1.37. And that matters for us in fantasy because that means they're getting explosive plays. I've been told by my stats friends that those two are very key to offensive production. Moving on into Auburn in 2019, where he was the offensive coordinator for Bo Nix's freshman year, they did take a little bit of a drop back, at least he did, going to 45th in pass success rate, still top half of the nation, but did drop down to 100th in offensive explosive rating. Then he goes on to Florida State for 2 years, where he averaged a 75th% offensive success rate, but a 40th pass explosive rate, which is really good, especially with the team and the players that they had at Florida State at that time. A couple down years for them before Mike Norvell shows up and Mike Norvell was there with him. I apologize. And they've really kind of revitalized Florida State to what it is now, but it was not quite there yet. It took them a couple years. Now we go to Oregon this year, where they are leading in offensive categories in almost everything this year, including number 2 in the nation in pass success rate with a .544. That was just incredibly ridiculous. Kenny Dillingham has gotten this offense rolling. So why does all that matter for Arizona State? Obviously, we want to see high-end flying offenses. For the fantasy side of things, I actually think Kenny Dillingham is a sneaky good recruiter. Dante Moore tweeted out a message earlier today about go get it GOAT with him going over there. For those of you don't know, Dante Moore is one of the top rated quarterback recruits in this class. He was choosing between a ton of top end schools, including Michigan and Notre Dame, and he chose Oregon. His lead recruiter, Kenny Dillingham. He's going to Arizona State with a quarterback that I believe is going to be very good in Israel Carter. Now, he's only a 3-star. He was not highly thought of early. As a matter of fact, he's the 813th national ranked player, and he's the 39th ranked quarterback in his class. Yet, he just recently picked up an offer from, you guessed it, Oregon. Can you guess who his recruiter was? Kenny Dillingham. I think this is a great fit for Israel Carter, and it's a great fit for Arizona State. Now, bring up Israel Carter because if we're being honest, there's not a lot right now in this quarterback room. Emory Jones likely gone. I will be honest, with the COVID year, it's really kind of hard to tell how much eligibility he has left, but he's played 5 years in college. Paul Tyson just does not seem to be it. They did have Borgo, who flashed at times this year, and maybe he gets the starting job next year. But I really think that Israel Carter coming in is going to be really big for him and this offense and their turnaround of this team. They've got some interesting pieces there as well. Xavier Valade, the running back, is now moving on to the NFL. He is out of eligibility, but Daniel Ngata, Elijah Badger, who still has a couple years of eligibility, and who they can bring in. I think he is, as I mentioned, an underrated recruiter, and they could possibly bring in some more players. Right now, they are unfortunately the 97th ranked recruiting class in the nation. They have just got offensive weapons-wise Israel Carter. They have Corbin Hendricks, the wide receiver. He is a 3-star, the 111th ranked wide receiver in the 2023 class. And they're also bringing in Kyson Brown, who I think is actually a little bit of a sneaky running back, but he is a no star. Like he has no stars. He's out of Lancaster, Texas. That's how I know him. But he does seem to be a very good player. But again, with now him being there back in Arizona, where he's from, knowing that state, knowing how to recruit there as well. And then let's add on to the fact that UCLA and USC are moving on to the Big Ten. They'll still be able to recruit in those areas, but I think Arizona State has a prime chance in the next couple years to take a massive step forward with a good offense, a good offensive coordinator, a offensive-minded head coach, which Kenny Dillingham will be. And if they're able to recruit the areas of Arizona and California, we might actually see the Arizona State Sun Devils as one of the better teams in the country and the Pac-12 in next 2 to 3 years. I'm very excited about this hire, as you should be as well if you're an Arizona State Sun Devils fan, because this is a great move. Kenny Dillingham, I don't think was getting the praise that he deserved as an offensive guru in the college football landscape until this year when we saw what Oregon was able to do. And I would not be lying to you and saying I think he can do that at Arizona State. And I would be excited about the quarterback you guys are bringing in, Israel Carter, because I would not expect him to flip with Kenny Dillingham recruiting him to Oregon when he signed with Arizona State. And now look who's coming into Arizona State, his recruiter as his head coach. Guys, if you like this kind of content, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, make sure to turn that bell icon on. We're going to have tons of transfer portal stuff going on, coaches moving back and forth. This is a second coaching video we've dropped today. We'll have tons more as all these jobs continue to shake up and new coaches are brought in. We appreciate you guys for showing us the love, and we will talk to you guys again soon. Have a safe